Hi everyone, this is Dave from Geek and welcome to the final video in the Geek Gaming PC build series. Yes, the build is finally complete, and in this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the components and also about the performance of the system. So I want to talk to you about how the build went, how the individual components have been performing, and also about the actual performance of the overall system. I should also remind you there is a link in the video description where you can see individual videos for all of the components in this particular PC. So let's start just by talking a little bit about the case. This is the Novatech Eclipse mid-tower case. It's a very good price, and I think that's one of the big selling points of this, that you can get such a fully featured case without having to spend too much money. There were a few little bits that we didn't like on it, and that was like some of the screws, like the thumb screws on the back, were a little bit difficult to locate into place, and overall it just had a little bit of a cheaper feel than if you spent a bit more money. But that said, this is a really good option. At the time of doing this video, it's just under £60, and that is amazing for a case with so many features and so much room in it. Now, moving on to the processor, which you obviously can't see at the moment because it's actually situated underneath the CPU cooler. We went for the Intel Core i7-4790K CPU, the sort of highest rated performance CPU at the time of selecting the components for this build. Obviously there are newer ones out now, but for this particular motherboard and this price point, this is a fantastic performer. It really is, and it is very easily overclocked as well. With regards to the motherboard, now the motherboard's the MSI Z97 Gaming 7. You can see it obviously right at the back of the case here. Black PCB, really very nicely designed and very well made. It installed very easily indeed. Great features. And again, for the price point for this board, it's got so much going for it. So really happy with the selection there. And then we come on to another MSI component, which you can see right here. This is the graphics card, the MSI Radeon R9 290X. This is the Twin Frozer 4 OC edition. Again, a great choice of card, and it really lends itself well to gaming. It is such a good performer. The actual fans on the card, obviously they do spin up and generate some noise, but it's not too bad, you know, it's more than acceptable. Now let's move on to this down here, the power supply. Now you can spend a lot of money on a power supply nowadays, but we went for the Novatech Power Station V2 Black Edition. It's a 1000-watt semi-modular design, so some of the cables are pre-wired into it and then the rest are modular, so you just plug in what you need. And it lended itself really well to what has turned out to be a nice, neat installation. I think the cable management is really good on the power supply. Now, some of that can be attributed to the actual case itself. We've got a lot of cable management up the back here, and you can see some of the cables coming through at the back of the case. And I just think it looks really neat. I'm really very pleased with it. And the fact that we've got a 1000-watt power supply, again in here, that's not cost too much, is a credit to Novatech, so a good choice for power supply. Now with regards to the case fans, we went for the Cooler Master Sickle Flow 120 fans, and they've performed really well. We actually installed one at the back of the case here and also one on the side panel that we've taken off. The red colouring looks really nice, so really pleased with those. And again, they produce noise, but not too bad. Not the quietest of fans, but certainly at the price point, again, they are more than acceptable. And it's difficult when you're choosing fans, you know, sound is relative to the sort of case you're using, the acoustics of the case as well, and where you're positioning your PC. So we could swap these out at some stage for quieter fans if we wanted to. Now, with regards to the Transcend SSD 370 512GB solid state drive, that has performed really well indeed. It's actually hidden away inside this front cage here. And for the operating system and also the benchmarks that you're seeing on your screen, that really did give the whole system a boost. Really quick boot up times and really good performance overall, but we'll touch a little bit more on that in a short while. Moving on to the CPU cooler, and here it is here. This is the Noctua NH-U12S. A really nice design. We've got the fins at the back which aid in cooling and a really quiet fan on the front, and I've been very impressed with this. It's done a good job of keeping that Intel Core i7-4790K CPU nice and cool, and it doesn't generate a lot of noise. The only negative point with the cooler is that it was quite difficult to fit. It seemed like the instructions were from a different cooler altogether, but we got there in the end and it installed really nicely, and it's just a really good choice again. Very, very good performance from the NH-U12S. Moving across to the RAM, we have got Kingston HyperX Beast RAM in here, and we've got 32 gigabytes in total. It looks absolutely superb in the case. Runs nice and cool. The actual heat spreaders on the memory work really well indeed, and again, a great performance choice. You're going to spend a little bit more on this, but you're getting a brand that you can really trust. Now, we also installed some extra storage. We installed 2 Samsung solid state drives, and we put those into these easy remove bays at the bottom here. These are easily accessible from the front of the case. And again, they perform really well, not quite as good as the Transcend, but for storage of sort of overflow files, and I'll be using those for some video work, it's a really good choice again. A very, very quiet system because there's no actual physical hard drives in here. It's all solid state drives, so no extra noise generated from these sort of extra components for storage. Now, 2 last bits of kit I should mention are the Tesoro Lobra Supreme gaming keyboard. Fantastic. I've been so pleased with how that's been working. Absolutely awesome tactile feedback from the keyboard, lovely spacing, and a really well-made piece of kit. And then we've got the Mad Catz R.A.T Tournament Edition gaming mouse. Now, apart from looking superb in its red and black colouring, it just performs really well. Superbly smooth and accurate tracking, and very comfortable to use for prolonged periods of time. Now, with regards to the actual performance and my overall opinion of this particular build, first of all, the performance. You'll see some screenshots and some benchmarks that we did on your screen now. The actual graphics from the grid benchmark that we ran looked absolutely superb. No dropped frames that were noticeable, and just very, very fluid, no sort of graphics tearing, anything like that. And the overall benchmark from that particular test, amazing, really very good indeed, as were all of the other tests that we ran on this particular system. More than happy with the actual overall system performance of this. Now, with regards to running maybe 4K gameplay on this, it's not quite up to running at high frame rates. It will run at sort of medium frame rates with medium settings, but I think we really need to add an additional graphics card in here to really achieve the smooth gameplay performance we would expect. The overall opinion I've got of this particular build, well, it looks really nice. I think it's a very neat build. I think that we can improve on the sound and the acoustics of the build by maybe swapping out a few of the components. And maybe in a future revision of this, we might take everything out and put it into another case just to see if that improves some of the airflow. It's quite a tight fit for what we've got here. We've got quite large components installed in here, and maybe a double width case would be a better option. Not sure at this stage, but overall, I'm very, very pleased because using a combination of high-end parts and some of these more budget-friendly parts has really allowed us to bring this in at a really good price point. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what's been a really interesting experience for me, because it certainly showed what is achievable at this particular price point. Now, don't forget, if you want to see the individual components in this build, there is a link in the video description to the complete playlist for this particular series. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all again in the next video.